Thank you, Macarena. Good morning, everyone. Uh, for today, we are going to be reviewing the data query alternatives in Microsoft Dynamics 365. To start, I'm going to share my screen, and the idea of this presentation is that we are going to be reviewing the theoretical section first, and after that, I'm going to be just combining that presentation with the explanation directly in the CRM. So let's start with the presentation. Basically, in CRM Dynamics, we have multiple functionalities that allow us to get information from the system. You could just get information through the views. You could get information to advanced files. You could get information in a Power BI. You could get information from many different ways. The idea of this presentation
Hello, Jorge.
are you listening to me?
Yes, right now, yeah.
Okay, sorry. Microphone. So I'm going to be presenting the most important ones or the most relevant ones. But that basically are those topics. The first one is going to be advanced find. I'm going to be explaining you with a couple of exercises there. Then I'm going to be explaining the global search or contextual search. And finally, I'm going to be explaining the web API functionality in a high level way because this has a lot of functionalities here. So I'm going to be explaining in a high level way. Okay, the first thing is going to be the advanced find. The advanced finds is the functionality that you could find in the upper right side of the screen. That basically is with this funnel icon. So when you click there, you're going to find the functionality, and that functionality is going to allow you to do multiple finds combining many different filters that I'm going to be explaining in a second. So this window is going to be divided in three sections. The first one is going to be the command section that basically includes all the icons and all the functionality that you could use in this option. That is going to be the green one, this section. That is going to allow you to click in all the buttons and use all the functionalities here. The second section is going to be the entities and the views. In this section, the one, you could select the entity that you want to use, like the base entity for your query, for your search. And after that, you could start from an existing view that probably you could have in the system. I'm going to be explaining you directly in the system there. And finally, you are going to have the filter condition section. So here you could define what are the conditions that you want to include in the filter. Let's let's continue with the sections before pass directly to the CRM. When you open the advanced search, you could click in edit columns. That is a button that allows you to define what are the columns that you want to retrieve from the system, that you want to get from the query. So when you click in edit columns, you could see this option. This option is going to allow you to add additional columns that are basically columns that already exist in the system but you want to include in the view. Okay? And additionally, you could change some properties in the columns, like basically the size. You could redefine the position of a column, and additionally, you could configure the sorting or how the view is going to be sorted. So let's see that in the system. And after that, when you click on and execute, you could see directly the information that is going to have additional buttons that are going to appear here. So let's see this directly in the CRM, just to make it more interactive. So the first thing is that you have to click here, advanced find. When you click in advanced find, let me change first to this one just to see if we have some information here. Okay, so you could click in advanced search, and when you click there, you will find the view or the window that I just explained you before. Uh, you could find here the buttons just to see the query, just to save the view. I mean, you could do a couple of filters and after that just save this like a customized or like a personal view. You could get the results. You could start from scratch to create a new view. You could save as the view. I mean, you could save the view here, and after that, if you click here, you could see the views that you already saved. You could edit the colors. That was the option that I already explained you, and you're going to have some additional options here that I'm going to be explaining in a functional way. Okay, so the first thing is that you need to define the entity that you want to use for your query or for your search. Let's see that for a moment, let's define that is going to be leads. And you could define if you want to start with some of the views that you already have in the system. For example, all leads. If you click on results, you could get all the information, all the leads. As you can see, there is a couple of columns here, a couple of fields. But if you identify that there is a field that you wanted and it's, you could click here again. You could edit on columns, and here you will see all the columns that you have available on that entity, and you could click here in that column, and let's say that you want to add the address one, so you just need to click there, and as you can see you could just add the column here. If you want, you could move that to the left or to the right as you want it. Additionally, you could configure the order or the sorted for this view. Let's say that you want to order using the create on and you wanted to do ascending or descending as you need. Additionally, you could change the properties that basically is define the size of the column. And if you want to involve some JavaScript function, you could do it here, but it's a little bit more advanced. So I'm going to be in the basic one. And additionally, you could basically define the position, the order, and all that stuff. So after click on OK, you could click on Resolve, and you are going to get the additional column here. Okay. This is the query based on a view that already exists. But if you want to include additional filter, you could do it as well. You could click here in details. And when you click on details, you're going to have access to the filter section, or you are going to have access to include additional filters to your search. Let's say that you want to, for example, address contains any information, contains data, for example, you could do it. You could click on results, and all the records are going to have address one. You could, for example, status reason. So, for example, you could status reason. And let's say that you want to everything that is already qualified, for example. And in that way, you could just do all the filters that you require. There is another fields here, or there is another options here that are kind of useful. For example, if you want to for example, let's say that you want something like name, like mobile phone. For example, mobile phone contains data or anything that you require. But if you want that this condition is something that must be there, but some of these conditions could be there, so you could select here, you could select both, and after that you could click on or. So what it means is that you are doing this mandatory and some of these optionals. I mean, some of these mandatory, but not both, one of them. So you could click on or, and when you click on result, the CRM is going to present the information that match with this condition. You could do all the combinations that you wanted as soon as you can define it, but you could do combinations with and that implies that both options or both filters are going to be a must. And or you could do it with or just to define that something is going to be according to this functionality. Because this is really useful. If you want to remove that, you could just ungroup it. and you are going to have that. Okay. Additionally, you could download a page that is something useful if you are creating reports or something like that. It's not kind of useful if you are just using the CRM in your daily way, but it's something that is available there. Another thing that is possible here is that you could just click on results, for example. Let me delete this to try to get additional information. Let's try to delete this. And as you can see here, there is additional buttons here. I'm going to try to just pass through the most important ones. If you want to create a new lead, you could do it directly from here. If you want to, for example, delete a lead or something like that, you could just select a lead. And after that, if you have permission, you are going to have this button immediately. If you want to select all of them and try to detect duplicates, you could do it directly from here as well. If you want to send a direct email or add to a marketing list, you could do it directly from here. If you want to follow some of this record, you could do it directly from here. For example, if you click on follow, the lead is going to be like with the mark, and after that you could do a search, just trying to see the information of the leads that you are following. You could assign a lead directly from here. You could share, you could email a link to someone else in the company just to try to have access directly to the record. And additionally, if you want, you could export information. For example, you could export the leads. You just need to click there, and you are going to get all the leads information directly in an Excel file. So you could do it all of this directly from an advanced search. It's really useful. And additionally, you could combine multiple filters, not just one entity. If you move a little bit down, you could see all related. So you could have multiple combination of the query or multiple combination of the filter, and that's why it's really powerful. It's kind of difficult to use at the beginning, but after that, it's going to be pretty easy. Um, if you click on view, you could see here that I already have a specific view. If you want to select that, you just need to click here, My Views, Special Leads, for example, where you could see that I already have a combination of information, a combination of filters. And if you click here, you will see the information that I define with the columns that I define and with all the information that is important to me. Okay. Okay, let's go back to the guide. Basically, as I was explaining you, you're going to have all the information directly from here in an advanced search. You could export information, and when you export information, you are going to have, well, basically, when you are exporting information to Excel, you are going to have three ways to export that. Let me show you where is it. If you click here and you click on search, you could see here in export, if you click here, you will see some additional information here, static, dynamic, and some other options. So the explanation for those options is basically if you select static, it's going to create a copy I mean, it's going to download the information in an Excel file that is going to be in your computer, and the information that is going to be is going to be limited to the information that was on the system at the moment that you export information. It's going to be a copy of that moment, okay? But if you download in a dynamic way, the system allows you to export information, but you could update information. I mean, the spreadsheet is going to be connected to the CRM, and if you want to refresh, you could do it anytime. Directly from the Excel file, you're going to have a button there to refresh, and you are going to get the information directly from the CRM anytime that you want it, just from the Excel file. That's a dynamic Excel file, and if you include dynamic pivot table, basically it's something similar like the dynamic one, but it's going to include a pivot table as well. So you could have like a summarize or like a consolidated information in a pivot table that is going to be connected directly to the CRM and is going to be updated automatically anytime that you want. Okay. Okay, basically that's the first way to export or to get information from the system, that is advanced search. The next one is going to be the global search or contextual search. That's an option that is trying to change the name, but originally was called global search. A global search is one of the most widely used features in the CRM because it allows you to find information in many different entities in just one click. I mean, if you want to search, for example, like a specific name, like for example, Andrew or something like that, if you don't want to go directly to leads and after to contacts and after to accounts or after to cases, you could use the global search and you could find directly the information with just one click or just with just one enter. To do that, you could go directly to the option, and you could try to search information in the whole system, or you could try to search information in a specific entity. You need to define what are the entities that you want to include in the search. The CRM is not going to try to search in the whole system. The CRM is going to try to search in a specific entities that you could define at the beginning, or that you could modify later, but basically you need to define what are the entities that you want to include in this global search or categorized search, and after that the system is going to do that. So how to use it, uh, and how to configure it as well. The first thing that you need to do, let me see, for example, let me see what information. Okay, okay, let me see something here because I don't know why it's not. Let's enter here for a moment. I don't know why in this instance it's not presenting the option, because the option should be here. I don't know if it's because it's sandbox or what. But basically the functionality should be appear here in this section. So if you want to click here, you could, for example, click or define what do you want to search. And when you click there, the CRM is going to try to search information in opportunities, in accounts, in notes, in contacts, in email message. I mean, it's going to find anywhere, and it's going to try to find information directly in the system. So I don't know why it's not working on this instance. Probably I need to validate, or probably it's not enabled. But basically it works in that way. You just need to click there the thing that you want to search, and it's going to find information directly from here. Additionally, you could see just opportunities, you could see just accounts, you could see the nodes, you could see the contacts. You could see the specific information that you need, or if you want, you could just click on top results and you will see the information directly in the system. So how to configure that? So to configure that, you need to click in advanced settings. When you click in advanced settings, you need to enter to system settings. And here you will find an option, this option, select entities for categorized search. You need to click on select, and you need to define here what are the entities that you want to include in your search. The system is not going to try to search in the whole system. The system is going to search the information in the entities that you define. For example, if you have a CRM implementation that is not working with field service, for example, probably you want to remove work orders because it's not something that you are going to use, or customer assets. Or if you want to include some additional entity that you don't have it here, well, I don't know, like for example, quote or opportunity, or well, opportunity is already there. But if, for example, you want to include quote, you could do it. You just need to click on quote and add it, and the system is going to search on those entities. Okay. Something that is really important before start using this is that you need to configure per entity the columns that are going to be included in the filter. What it means, that is what I was trying to explain here. By default, the CRM I mean, when you create an entity or when you are working with an entity of the system, for example, leads, opportunities, or something like that, the CRM already knows or already had defined what are the entities that are going to be allowed to do queries and how it's going to work. Let's see that that's a little bit more technical, but it's something that you need to keep in mind if you want to try to use this functionality. So let's enter to customize the system, and let's see one of the entities that we have there. For example, leads. So let's enter to leads and let's see what are the columns or what are the fields that the CRM has configured to use as a filter. So you just need to click here and try to see what is lead. On leads, you need to enter to views. That's something that you just need to do once, and after that, it's going to be working. But I want to explain you how to configure properly. So you just need to click here on quick find. So all entities are going to have always a quick find view. On this view, you could define what are the columns that the system is going to use to do filters on these entities. So what it means here is that so the CRM is trying to find for the company name in the lead, is going to try to find for first name, for home phone, for last name. I mean, there is specific fields that the CRM is using to do the search. If you want to include something that is custom, so for example, if you include a column like, for example, job title, or I mean, something custom, for example, preferred color, something like that. If you want to include that field in the filter, you just need to click on OK. I mean, you just need to mark to check the field and just click on OK. Okay. After that, when you try to use the advanced search or the global search, the CRM is going to include that on the search. Okay. Basically, that's the functionality that we require. So it's something that you have to keep in mind if you want to configure that. Okay. Okay, let's see. After that, we have the web API. Web API is one of the functionalities that is available in the CRM and is going to be there since you install or since you configure the CRM. It's something that you could use to get information from another system. Basically, when you want to try to get information from another system, you could use the web API. To use that, basically, you need to get the service root URL that is going to be in your customization information. And with that information, you could start doing your queries directly to the CRM. So the first thing is get this URL. You could get this directly from settings customization. So you just need to enter here, customizations and developer resources. And here you will see the URL that you could use to interact with the web app. It's going to be here in this side, in the left side. It's going to take some time because that functionality is kind of slow. I mean, at least this window, this screen, is going to be kind of slow. But after you get this URL, you could start doing interactions directly with the system. What it means is, for example, there is some examples. Those are some examples that you could get. If you want to get information of your contacts, for example, you could define here, for example, you could get the contacts. I mean, you could see here the name of the entity. And after that, you could define here the columns that you want to retrieve. For example, in this case, you could get the full name. Let's try to do this. For example, this is the service route that I mentioned before. If you use this URL, the URL that I put here as an example, you are telling the CRM that you want to retrieve the contacts and you want to get the full name. This information is going to present that. And with that information, you could get additional information anytime you want. For example, I'm getting the full name here. I know that it's not. Let me try to use Firefox because Firefox is going to present that in a better way probably. Let me try to show you that because Chrome is going to present that as just routers, and probably in Firefox is going to be easier to see. Like for example, okay, like this. So here, as you can see here, you could get the full name or all your contacts in a really easy way to do it. If you want to, for example, include additional information, like for example, in this case, I am including the full name and I'm including the subject, you could do it. And additionally, I'm doing something here is that I'm getting the top three. So if you don't want to get all the information, you could get uh, a top three retrieve. Additionally, you could include filters, like for example in this option. What I'm getting here is that I'm getting the full name, the subject name, and I'm filtering just defining the status code equal to 1 that is inactive. Okay, so you could include additional or multiple filters as much as you need. And for example, if you want to expand a column, you could do it as well. What it means that, for example, if I am doing a query on leads, I'm getting the full name, the subject name, and I am doing a filter. I could do it as well here, but let me see why it doesn't take that. Okay, here we go. So for example, here I'm getting leads, full name, subject, and I'm expanding the country. What it means, on the lead, I have already created a country field that is a lookup for the country's entities. I am getting the specific name of the country. Okay, so as you can see here, if there is any lead that include a country, you could see here the name. If not, it's going to be like, for example, this one already has a name, already has a country, so it's going to tell me that the country is United States. Is the country is something that is not directly in the lead, at least not like a text field. It's going to get lookup, but I could get it directly with an expand function. This is a little bit more complex, but it's something really, really useful. On these URLs that I'm going to be sharing in the chat, you could see how to use the web API. This is a really, really useful information that I'm going to be sharing with you here in the chat. Both are URLs with information, and with that information, probably you are going to be able to use the web API without any issue. Well, basically, those are the three main forms to get information from the CRM: the bound search, the global search, and the web API. You could try by yourself directly in the CRM and try to see the documentation that I'm just sharing with you. And if you have any additional comment or any additional question, or if you want to clarify something that probably I didn't explain on detail on this presentation, just send me an email and I will be sharing with you all the information, or I will be answering all the questions that probably you could have as soon as you start using the system. Thanks all of you for your time. I really hope you to see you in the next webinar. Have a great day.